Hi everyone, welcome to the annual H&D versus Mersea Island Interclub competition. This year, 2020, it was the turn of H&D to host it. Unfortunately, the date we picked to host it, which was the 21st of March, just happened to coincide with the beginning of lockdown, so we had to postpone. Our idea initially was that we would wait until midsummer and then we'd all be able to meet up again and we'd host the event then. Well, guys, it's already July and it doesn't look like this is going to happen anytime soon. So that, coupled with the fact that camera clubs are now getting used to using Zoom for meetings, we thought maybe we could run it remotely. So we approached Mersea and both clubs agreed that we could do this. Well, okay, the PDIs presented no problem whatsoever. Prints, however, were a little more challenging. We decided we'd like to include all the images, so we thought we'd attempt to ask our judge if she would be prepared to judge them as prints, but looking at them as PDIs. Well, Linda Woodward, our judge, Linda CPAGB, I should say, not only agreed to do this, she also agreed to record her comments and judgments for us. So folks, we have a competition. I'd really like to thank Linda for taking on this mammoth task, and also everybody from H&D and from Mersea Island for taking part. And then a special thank you to Roger for putting all of this together. Without Roger, we would not have this meeting. It only remains now for me to give a very warm H&D welcome to everybody watching this video, especially our friends from Mersea Island Club. So let's sit back and enjoy the competition. Over to Linda.
Hello everyone, this is Linda Woodward coming to you from St Neots, a market town on the Great Ouse in Cambridgeshire. I was originally booked to come to your club in March to judge the battle between Halstead and Mersea, but of course events were taken over with this terrible virus. I'm so pleased that you have asked me to judge remotely, as I still get to see the best images from each club. I do enjoy judging battles, as it is a privilege to see so many excellent images. The standard is very high, and so I will be stretching out the marks in order to distinguish between the very good and the very, very good. Okay, let's get started, and good luck to both clubs. Before I start the prints, can I say that I really feel for the authors. Prints cannot always be judged exactly by their PDIs, but I will do my best. And we start with print 1, agave leaf. A simple image of tones and form. We are seeing just the impression of an agave leaf, with the lovely serrated edge. Unfortunately, there is a lot of noise in this image, which is a great shame. 5. Print number 2, boy. Wow, this really makes you step back. We have got a very close crop, bringing the boy so near to us, and I like his expression as he gazes to my left. I will hold that one back. Print number 3, catwalk style. The photographer has been very lucky to have a good position for the catwalk show and to be allowed to take photographs. The model is well lit, and to give context, we can actually see the audience, but they are nicely in the shade. 6. Print number 4, common seal. A great shot taken from an ideal viewpoint at the same level as the seal. If there were any distractions, they've been masked out with a textured layer, picking up the tones of the seal. However, I am not sure that the canvas texture is suitable. The seal itself is well rendered, with coat, sand, whiskers, all showing up well. I will hold that one back. Print 5, dogfight. Taken on a very bright day, the sun is catching the British biplanes. What is interesting is this is an image that are shapes and angles. We have a diagonal vapour trail running through the centre of the image, and the angle of most of the planes is very similar to each other. It has been well converted to monochrome, but I am wondering in this particular case why. 7.5. Print number 6, Ethereal. The author has found a dramatic spot on the mountainside, with the waterfall crashing down on the left into a stream leaving at the base. I can only assume it is mist, which is obscuring the centre to right part of the image. This is a situation which may view better as a print, but for me, too much of the image is obscured. There are hints of cragginess, but for me, it falls as a halfway house. 5. Print number 7, Fisherman's Hut, Varied. A very contrasty image, which is accentuating all the textures, the grass, wood, hillside, sea, and sky. The drama in the sky is somehow not reflected in the reasonably calm sea, but I am enjoying the hut itself. For me, the technique used has been pushed maybe a little too far. 8. Print number 8, Grapes and Wine. A still life, tightly cropped. The subject matter has been well taken, and the addition of the leaves to the bowl of grapes adds another texture. There is a lot going on in a confined space. Do we need the bottle and the cork and the wine glass? Maybe just one of those would be sufficient. And the texture background is very close, and it's that texture which pulls your eye away from the subject. 6. Print number 9, Grey Heron in Flight. The author has tracked and done well to get the heron so clear in such a good pose. There is excellent definition throughout the bird. I am particularly fond of the rippled water beneath the bird, making it really stand out. However, if I were to look at the right-hand side of the black wings, I can see an edge halo, the result of over-processing. A great pity on a stunning image. 8.5. Print number 10, Grey Wolf. This is a very hypnotic stare we are getting from the wolf. The head and shoulders in monochrome works well. The author has chosen a shallow depth of field, leaving only the area of eyes to ears in focus. This means that snout coming towards us is moving out of focus, which is a little disconcerting. The wolf itself looks menacing, and I certainly wouldn't want to be standing where the author is standing. 6.5. Print number 11, Group Hug. The zoo shot of 3 photogenic ring-tailed lemurs. The title says Group Hug, but their interest is not in the hug, but in something to our left. A competent shot with the background nicely diffused. 6. Print number 12, Hyena Pups at Play. Here the photographer has captured the tender interaction between the 2 pups. It's wonderful to see the rippled young skin on the belly of the pup lying down, and the standing pup gently tapping his sibling, his snout just covered by the reclining pup's leg. A special moment that holds our attention. 8. Print 13, Iris. The author has chosen a stem with the lower flower fading and the top flower full open. The lighting has produced strange shadows on some of the petals, and the dark background has some repeated patterns of green which draw the eye away from the flower. There is also a flare spot just above the bloom, but I do like the jaunty angle of the stem. 5. Print 14, Lilac Dreams. A simple still life, well executed. White flowers, white vase, white background, all softened with a soft white textured layer. I'll hold that one back, please. Print 15, Mountain Hare. This hare is almost jumping out of the image. It is refreshing to see a different take on the mountain hare, and the head and shoulders in monochrome works extremely well. Eye and fur have been well rendered. I'll hold that one back. Print 16, Oseo View. I love the sharp lines of the huts against the softness of the sea and the sky, rendered silky by using a long shutter speed. 3 similar but not quite the same huts. A beautiful image, and I'll hold that one back. Print 17, Pop Bottles. I love the imagination and creativity that has gone into this image. Firstly, we have some interestingly shaped bottles. One set is then distorted into waves and the 2 sets overlaid. On top of that, we have these creative colours, and all have bubbles popping out of them. Well done to the author. 7. Print 18, Rebels versus Titans. The author has taken a great viewpoint and a perspective that most of us do not get to see. These players are tall anyway, but by photographing from floor level, the photographer has emphasised the size. A fast shutter speed catches the moment the ball is about to leave the player's hand. A well-shot image, and I'll hold that one back. Print 19, Rihanna in Concert. It is usually difficult to get concert images that are not cluttered with equipment or have lighting which does not enhance the subject. But here we see Rihanna performing to her adoring fans. Just one symbol cuts across her body, and the background is nicely lost in deep shade. In this competition, unfortunately, there are stronger images. 6. Print 20, Stag in Dawn Sun. Another head and shoulders animal shot, and this one is so well composed. The diagonal from tip of the nose to the top of the antlers really goes through the image and gives a sense of strength. The lighting is beautiful, with key features well lit. I'm not sure that we need the dried stalk just in front of the animal, but nevertheless a stunning image which I'll hold back. Print 21, The Kiss. The meeting of a garden snail with a smaller variety of snail on a flower stem. A not-so-still life setup. Here the photographer has put a very simple background and caught the 2 snails interacting. A well-taken shot. Just a little bit of a shame that the flower bud on the left has been cut off, but I will hold it back. Print 22, The Urn. The author has found an attractive terracotta urn sitting in dappled sunlight in a corner. The background, window grille, foliage and urn have retained the same colour. The rest of the image is monochrome, with the exception of the breeze block. It's an interesting study of shapes, lines and circles. 5.5. Print 23, Waterboys. So eager to rush into the sea, although judging by the stance of the 2 outer boys, I think they have just realised how cold the water is. We've got good separation between the boys, and although the sun is low, they have not gone into full silhouette. 8. Print 24, Wild Flowers from the Garden. Love in the Mist and Poppies. 2 very different blooms. The spikes of Love in the Mist are architectural, and the poppies are softer blooms. They've been brought together here by the soft layer around the edge. 7. The holdbacks are Boy, Common Seal, Lilac Dreams, Mountain Hare, Osea View, Rebels vs Titans, Stag in Dawn Sun, and The Kiss. Lilac Dreams 9, The Kiss 9, Stag in Dawn Sun 9.5, Boy 10, Common Seal 10, Mountain Hare 10, Osea View 10, and Rebels vs Titans 10.
So we're at the halfway stage. Let's take a look at the scores so far. Wow, as you can see, just half a point in it. Let's go on to the PDIs.
Starting with the PDIs, we have Astrantia roma. This is a beautiful flower and beautifully captured. The deep burgundy of the flower contrasts well with the diffused light background, and the shallow depth of field gives a delicacy to the image. 8.5. Image 2, Blocking the Shot. This is a great action shot of what I assume to be an amateur game, a game that so many youngsters are longing to get back to playing. The moment has been caught well, with the goalkeeper off the ground, the two players mid-kick and the ball in the centre of the three. The problem with the image is the distraction from the wire fencing and the winter bushes and trees, which are too close to the players. We can see by the shadow on the ground that it was a very bright day, and that has unfortunately taken detail from the blue player's shorts and his face. 6.5. Image 3, CK79. This is a competent image. I like the angle of the mast on this boat as it sails towards us, and it has been taken in a position where there is nothing on the land behind to distract us. The sky is a soft blue with gentle clouds, and the boat and its occupants are sharp and well defined. But I feel that the cropping is very close, and for me the boat feels trapped, held in. 6. Image 4, Coast Guard Cottages. This is a strong monochrome image made stunning by the dramatic sky. Looking at the whitewashed walls of the cottages, we see that it was a sunny day, with deep shadows under the eaves. But the brickwork has kept its detail. Our two walkers seem to be ignoring the sunshine. They have on warm coats and are strangely not producing shadows. The composition, having the cottages low in the image, makes the sky the most eye-catching part of the image. 7. Image 5, Dawn. This is a quiet, gentle image, taken at just the right time before the sun creeps over the hills. The orange glow is beautiful, and I'm enjoying the recession of the hills. The houses along the shore are in deep shadow and so do not come as a distraction. A pleasing image. 5.5. Image 6, Dawn in Richmond. The photographer was so lucky to get the stag silhouette so clearly defined by having it face forward. The back legs are well placed. The front ones could ideally have a gap between them. No one wants a three-legged stag. The framing works well with the bough of the tree overhead and the contoured ground beneath. The mist has helped the author diffuse the bright sun, and I like how the mist is laying over the lake. I'm actually undecided as to whether the horizontal is true. There is plenty of bird life on the lake, but I am not happy about the half a bird flying in on the right. It would be so easy to clone it out, and also the distracting dark ripple that's just below it. All said, I love the composition and the overall effect of the image. 8.5. Image 7, Dog and Fog. As with the previous image, the author has taken an early morning shot straight into the sun and been helped by the mist. I like the icy cool quietness of the image. The mist muffling all sounds, except perhaps the crunch of hoarfrost underneath. Very atmospheric. 7.5. Image 8, Driving Them On. Very brave of the author to put themselves in the path of so many horses, but the outcome has worked well, with almost all the faces visible, along with those herding them at the back. The image is helped by the reeds on either side, making an image of greens and greys, with a little pop of colour from the people at the back. 8. Image 9, Entrance to Langemarck War Cemetery. A great study in perspective, with the lone person silhouetted at the end. It is, however, very bright at that end, with minimal definition visible. But I am enjoying the corridor, and the diagonal line is very important to break the monotony of the floor. 7. Image 10, Float Plane. A study of the sky, with the light hitting the base of the top clouds. But as the subject of this image is the plane, which is shown well in silhouette, I wonder if we need so much sky. But I do like the interplay between the plane and that top cloud. The angle of the plane works well for the silhouette, separating the two floats. 6. Image 11, It Takes Two. A close-up study of two meerkats with shiny noses and eyes. They are great posers, and in this case the sandy-coloured background causes no distractions except for the groove coming out between them both. The composition is good, with both engrossed in looking in the same direction. However, for me, I feel the image has been over-sharpened. Meerkats are furry creatures, but the sharpening has given a harsh, almost quill-like effect to the fur. 6.5. Image 12, Josie in White. The delicate nature of this image suits the model's pose and dress. There is a soft glow to the image, but her features, particularly the eyes, are clear and sharp. The white wood surround adds a little texture. I'd like to hold this one back. Image 13, Looking Out to Sea. We have a lot of silhouettes in this competition, and this one is different again, with just two Anthony Gormley figures against the wind farm in the background. The dramatic sun-drenched wave in the foreground makes the image. The colouring on the water is beautiful. I am not so sure that the second, almost covered figure enhances the image, particularly as it's so bold against the softness of the wind farm. It seems to pull the eye away from the main figure in the foreground. 7. Image 14, Mind the Gap. The first thing that strikes me is the limited colour palette of golds and browns. There is so much texture going on that it is making a very interesting, almost still life. The two fungi have been placed so that the poor snail has to negotiate the step down, and you have caught it mid-stride. However, I am drawn to how the background meets the sides of the mound, which for me doesn't flow too well. But I am going to hold that one back. Image 15, pink begonias. A simple still life with textured overlay. The whole image has been given a painterly effect which suits it. I'm enjoying the pink flowers with their yellow stamens. And the squat ridged glass vase adds extra interest with the refractions of the stems. But I am not so sure that the two yellow, are they fruit or nuts, on the wooden base help the image. 8. Image 16, power in perspective. This is a geometrical image with the repeated lines and angles. The foreground is not too distracting, and the graduation of colour in the sky adds an extra element to the image. There is near symmetry, but not quite, and the catenary curves of the wires draw us into the image. 6.5. Image 17, red squirrel, cairngorms. This is a well-shot, well-composed image. The squirrel is perfectly posed on a wonderfully gnarled piece of wood amongst the heather, and the narrow depth of field gives a purple hue to the background. The squirrel itself is sharp, with a glint in its eye. A cracking image. I'll hold that one back. Image 18, scruff. This is another furry animal, again with great textures in its fur, this time framed by the weathered wood of the gate. It gives the impression of a grab shop because the dog is looking away from the camera. The narrow depth of field has helped keep the attention on the face of the dog, but some of the fur on the snout is slightly out of focus. 6.5. Image 19, spoonbill. There is incredible definition in the feathers of the bird, and overall we get an ethereal effect from the background. There is even some texturing in the background, which for me says that the image may work well as a print. A well put together image, and I will hold that one back. Image 20, steady as she goes. Compositionally, this works really well, with the girl, a juvenile I think, being followed by the heavy swell of the sea. The gull is sharp and focus drops away as we reach the sea. 8.5. Image 21, strawberry splash. The crop on this image has lost the edges of the vessel, but we can see from the water surface that it is cylindrical. We can follow the splash down from the top right-hand corner to the surface and then down to the strawberry. What a fun thing to do, and you can keep going until you're happy with the image. It is unfortunate that it has actually been split in half by the water surface, and most of the interest is on the strawberry. And there is one bubble on the right which I personally would have removed. 7. Image 22, the cheese grater. There is such a lot of interest in architecture in London, and much of it can be enhanced by taking a good viewpoint, and that is exactly what the author has done here. The monochrome conversion works well, and the clean lines lead us to the top of the building. A good technical image. 8. Image 23, the trainer. The moment has been caught perfectly here. The horse is up and temporarily balanced, with the tail swirling behind. All attention is on the horse, as the trainer's uniform ensures that he mostly blends into the background. Detail is stunning throughout. I'll hold that one back. Image 24, trust. Another where the moment has been caught perfectly. We have the split second between leaving the slope and arriving into the outstretched arms. Total silhouette, but improved by the colour background shading from blue to gold. I'll hold that one back. The holdbacks are Josie in White, Mind the Gap, Red Squirrel Cairngorms, Spoonbill, The Trainer, and Trust. I'm going to give Mind the Gap 9, The Trainer 9, Trust 9, Spoonbill 9.5, Josie in White 10, Red Squirrel 10.
Thanks, Linda. Let's take a look now at the print scores. So Halstead just winning out on the prints, but before we look at the grand total, let's see what Linda picked as her favourite PDI and her favourite print. Linda's pick for her favourite print, Boy by Tori Andrews, so congratulations Tori, and Tori is from Halstead Photographic Club. And Linda's pick for the PDIs was Red Squirrel by Lorraine Green, who is also from Halstead Photographic Club, so well done Lorraine. Well done everyone, great images on both sides of the table, and it only leaves me now to introduce Steve Thompson, our Vice Chair, to give a vote of thanks.
The battle for Mersea Island. Madam Chair, esteemed Judge, HDPS and MIPS members and guests, thank you for zooming in on tonight's competition. As you can see, we're an inclusive club welcoming without fear or favour people from both sides of the Strood. As Vice Chair, I am tasked with proposing a vote of thanks to our judge and indeed to everyone who's contributed to the meeting. So that's what I'll do. But first, a brief history of this competition. After the Celts closed their Red Hills Camera Club, resistance to the domination of Camel O'Dunham under the brutal rule of victorious Hainsworthiam became a paramount policy to the MIPS, and independence remained their central interest. Romans may have brought drainage, central heating and pinhole cameras to Britain, but they were useless for landscape photography, and Mersea Island Photographic Society dominated competitions during this era. They were eventually liberated from Colchester's rule by Boadicea, and for many years thereafter, fishing, oyster dredging and wildlife photography brought them great success. The civil war between East and West Mersea was fought in 1648 over a green glass bowl, which was found inside a lead casket, itself buried under a barrow. The bowl was found to be full of a rival club's burnt competition prints, and each blamed the other. During the siege of Colchester, the River Colne was blockaded and photography competitions were temporarily halted. When the Civil War concluded, people from Essex again began venturing across the Strood to see if the inhabitants there still used cannons. They were met with an understandable hostility, as by then the demand for Mersea native oysters had created a smuggling opportunity, and Mersea Island had become a haven for contraband storage and tax-free cameras. The police finally established a presence on the island in 1964, and a truce was proposed in exchange for a new, impartial booking policy at the company shed. The Essex towns were finally reconciled. Now, to commemorate these past battles, in 1988, this photographic competition was inaugurated, but still, photographic dominance of the island is decided by who can take the best shots. To this day, the level of suspicion between the Essex clubs is such that we had to seek a judge from a remote area to ensure neutrality to settle tonight's battle. And that brings me to the true purpose of my contribution, which is to thank Linda. And what a battle it's been tonight. 24 super images judged with forensic precision by our enigmatic judge, Linda Woodward. I say enigmatic because this self-confessed butterfly of photography dishes out 5s and 6s with a mellifluous voice, shining eyes and a sweet smile which belies her wonderfully analytical and consistently brief critiques. One almost felt grateful for the punishment that she doled out because you knew it was for your own good. Top images were held back and then fearlessly remarked with perfect clarity. Some examples that appealed to me. There's a bit of noise on this image. Shame. 5. Competent shot. I particularly liked the jaunty angle of the stem. 5. And I also enjoyed no one wants to see a 3-legged stag. So thank you, Linda, for accepting this distant booking, even when you thought it was really going to be a long journey. And thank you again for agreeing to judge the two clubs remotely, thereby saving the competition from having a gap in its illustrious history. Thank you for your decisive and unerringly accurate marking, and for offering some very useful suggestions for improving the images, including those which you highly marked. I'm full of admiration too for the way which you managed to make each critique last exactly 30 seconds. How did you do that? And the results? Well, housted by a nose in the print section and housted by a neck in the PDI. So now I will ask Housted and Mersea Island members to show your gratitude for all the time Linda has spent considering so meticulously the relative merits of these images. Please give Linda Woodward, DPAG, the loudest, the most enthusiastic applause you can possibly extract from your poor and overworked palms, and do so now. And finally, a very special thanks to all the other people who made this meeting possible. To all the photographers who submitted their precious works to the merciless fire of criticism. To the interclub competition secretaries, Jan Bond and Dick Wayland, who defied COVID-19 restrictions to enable the meeting to go ahead online. But most especially to our webmaster, Mr. Roger Cuthbert, whose admirable expertise in putting together these competition videos has become legendary, and whose skill and imagination has saved, maybe even enhanced, Housted's 2019 and 2020 season. And while I'm here, I think we should also thank Zoom, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, MI5 and the FBI, and all their hard-working spies who by now know all our names, addresses and photographic inclinations. Safely log off, everybody. Bye-bye.